Hey, welcome to the inaugural Jokes on Her podcast. Just wanted to give a quick introduction of my episode with Amy T. But before I do that, I wanted to jump on here. For those who don't know me, I'm Krista, also known as at the Witty Widow on Instagram. I have some big shows coming up to close out August, the end of summer. So sad. But you can catch me this Saturday. That would be August 16th. You can catch me at Jamie Johnston's Pub in Jamaica Plain, Blacked Out Comedy. So excited to be there. And then on August 23rd, I'm going to be doing a variety show at Crosstown in Haverhill. I'm the comedy part of the variety, of course, but this is going to be like kind of a dress rehearsal for my 30 minutes that I'm doing when I open for Jared Freed. And those shows, I am so excited, and also have a little bit of anxiety, mostly good butterflies going on for those shows. But Labor Day weekend, I'm doing 5 shows with Jared Freed. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night at Comedy Connection in East Providence, Rhode Island. I'm so excited because I grew up literally like down the street from Comedy Connection. So excited to be there, see a bunch of my high school friends. And these are going to be huge shows for me. So check those out if you can. And then let's dive into our episode with Amy T. For those who don't know, Amy T's been doing comedy in the New England area for around 20 years. Amy is like an official working comic. This is her bread and butter here. She does corporate events, she does shows, she talks about mental health in a real raw way. You know, the beginning of our episodes may be a little bit dark, but I know a lot of us suffer from mental health stuff, and we can totally relate and appreciate everything that she's saying. Let's dive into the Amy T episode. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. All right, we are here with Amy T, the inaugural guest for the Jokes on Her podcast. Amy, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for asking. This is very exciting to be the first one. So this
Oh
is
my gosh.
quite an honor.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm not lying when I say I'm like the president of the Amy T fan club. So I just have like looked up to you for so long, and I'm just really excited to talk about all the things.
Okay, well, thank you. I don't know what it is, but I appreciate that. That's sweet.
Well, first I want to say happy early birthday and congratulate you on your birthday. Like, when is it officially?
The official day is September 3rd, so we got 3 weeks to go or so. Yeah,
It's a big birthday.
it is a big birthday. I'm turning 50, and I'm just going to embrace it, right? Like, there's nothing I can do about it. It's going to happen regardless. So I figured I'd have some fun with it, make some videos, and just kind of, yeah, just let's see what happens in the next decade.
Yeah. So let me ask you, like, is this where you thought you would be at 50?
That's a loaded question. Uh, to be honest with you, you want like raw and honest, right? Like we're just being
Yes.
candid and raw. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I didn't plan on being alive. So this is something. This is something, and we're just kind of figuring it out.
Hmm. Can you talk more about that? I mean, it was on it was on my list to talk about the sobriety journey and everything like that, but like when you think about, you know, I hadn't planned on being alive. Like, how does that sit with you now?
So I'll be full transparent and being completely raw. Where a lot of times I usually censor myself based on the work that I do, that I didn't want people to hear things or whatever. So yeah, I don't have a reason to censor. So to be honest with you, like I can recall going back 15 years old, just having suicidal thoughts. Like I just don't want to do this, right? Like whatever. And you think through it, you get through another day or whatever, but it's always like just lingering. And my mental health and substance use really came crashing down in 2010, where I did make a significant attempt that didn't clearly work or whatever, but it's always been lingering, it's always been there. And then you just kind of push it aside, and you're like, all right, you're going to get through another day. Or you think about like how other people's feelings are, and it's like, oh, you can't do that, or like for whatever reason, for what got me through, the early part of recovery was I had a dog named Jake, and it was like, who would take care of Jake? Nobody even knows how to do anything with Jake. Jake has Lammy, like you don't know how to take care of him. I can't like leave that in anybody else's hands, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's always been there, and it gets heavy, and that's a lot of work when this is noises over here and you're trying to do so much work, but it still never goes away no matter like how much work you do or whatever. And I just recently told this story. So I was tired. I was tired, and I'd done everything like you're supposed to do. And it's still there. And so like I had made this bet with myself in 2022. Like, all right, I'm tired. I'm done. I feel like I've accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. I can go out and feel okay. And so I made a plan like for March 23rd, 2023. So 32323. Like I love numbers. That's a thing for me. So like I had this, I'm like, all right. So I spent if I spent an entire year, like, okay, like this is constantly in my head, but let me see if I can't spend an entire year of trying to like get me to another reason why. And comedy, sincerely, for the last 20 years has kept me. That's the only time. That's when I feel the most alive, right? Like, it's when I know all the planets are aligned, and I'm like, I just know that's what I was meant to do. And I knew that the very first time I took stage, and so I spent as much. I was like, I'm going to put as much effort into like comedy and like keeping myself alive as much. But at the same time, parallel, I was also making a plan. So I was cleaning out stuff. I was, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to get like deep, but you're getting the gist, right? So I'm side by side, simultaneously trying to like, what's keeping me alive? Because then the state of the world sucks.
Big time.
Right?
Time. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Amy T, like it's so much better. Like you got to stay alive, it's so much better. And then you look around, like I'm stayed alive for this. What the fuck?
Yeah. For what? Literally for what?
This is what it looks like. I mean, living in fear, but that's all right. That's fast forward. But so I literally was like simultaneously working side by side of like trying to stay alive and then also making a plan and being okay with it. Like I'm good. And talk to my wife about it. I'm like, I need you to know, of course, like whatever. And then, so the plan was in March 2023, January 19th, 2023. So I get 2 months to go. Right. And it's neck and neck of yes or no. Yeah, neck and neck. And I get a call from this woman to do a corporate gig. And, it's the biggest payday I've ever had. $7,500 to do 30 minutes. Right? Like, yeah, all the things. And I get off the phone. I just start crying. I look up into the universe. I was like, and then the gig was in May. Well, that's after March.
Right.
So I look
you
up.
You gotta stay alive.
I was like, I see what you just did there. I see what you did there. And so now it's like, okay, well, I made the bet with myself. I missed the bet because this person needs me in May. Now we just like deal with it. But like, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, but I get like the universe intercepted that in its way that's going to speak to me. Like, yeah, I gotta take this. Like, this is a pretty significant, exciting corporate gig, biggest payout. Like all these things that like spoke for me in success and all the things that I wanted. So I was like, all right, universe, I see what you did there. But then I was like, Inauguration day, I'm sitting here going, what the fuck? For what? For what?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not the same like bet that I had with myself 2 years ago, but it's still that same like fucking come on. Every day it's something new, right? Like you're gonna be
exhausting.
And it's not healthy for us as a country, right? Like we're living in fear, or like we're on like anxiety, like it's just we're all like on our last nerve, which is like a ripple effect of energy throughout the world. Um, yeah. All right. That's enough of that nonsense.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the juxtaposition because I'm kind of going through something similar a little bit right now. So, like my backstory, I was married for 9 years, was with my husband for 15 years, and then my husband passed away in December of 22. So that like a large part of my comedy is about like being widowed at 35. So there's this juxtaposition of like I'm laughing about this, like these are my jokes, and this is like very core to my identity, and also, like, hi, sometimes that hole of grief, like, it's still very much an open wound. And so, how do you balance both of those things? You know?
Ooh, right. Because like, you say you're a fan from afar, right? Like you fangirl of me from afar, but like, would you have never known that? What I just told you,
Never.
right? Um,
Never.
so I think like sometimes, and I think it's just been in the last like year or two that I'm letting that part of me show because it's like I'm okay to like be human and have a good day. I don't have to be fabulous all the time. And I worked for the last decade in mental health, so I had to like be that face for the individuals that I'm supporting. So it didn't matter like how, like literally planning my death and my suicide, and I'm like going to work being like, you can't kill yourself. The whole world needs you.
Right. How does that work? How do you do
um,
that? Like,
I don't know if it's like compartmentalized, but comedy is like huge, right? Like
mm,
even if it's making the audience uncomfortable, there's a healing factor for you to have to say it out loud. So sometimes it's just for you. But
yeah.
there is somebody in the audience that is a widow that does feel what you're feeling. And if that's the only person you're speaking to for 5 or 7 minutes in your set, that's what makes it worth it. That's
Mm,
when you get off stage and go, because somebody's going to come up to you and be like, thank you so much, right? They hug you and they're like tears in their eyes and like, thank you for talking about this, my daughter, my son, whatever. Um, so then you're driving home and going, that's why I do it.
mm,
That's what I
yeah.
do it. That's what fuels it. That's what kind of takes the sting out of the day, or it gives you a core memory for the day that you wake up and you're not well. You have a core
Mm-hmm.
memory to be like, well, this is going to at least get me to the end of the day, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Right.
Right? Because it's
Yeah.
just getting through the moments. Can't get too far ahead. You got to get through, like, like for me, it's just going to get until we're done talking, and then I'll figure out the rest of the evening. So
Right.
sometimes whatever can just get you through the moments and not think too far ahead, so that because when we get too big and we're like, oh, what am I going to do next week? It's too big now.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've gotten too far away from it that you can't reel it back in. So if you can just get to like what's going to get me from now until 9 o'clock when I go to bed and brush my teeth. That's all I have to think about is the next 3 hours. And then we'll just take it, you just chunk it up into some small bite-sized pieces. And then days, I'm sure, like days go easier and you might get through 3 weeks. And then you're like, oh, a song comes on the radio or whatever it is for you. And you're like, ooh, that's a step back today. And that's
Yeah.
okay. You got to feel it. And
Absolutely.
I think if you don't feel it, that's where you're doing yourself harm.
Yeah. I would so agree. I get to that point where I'm like, damn, girl, maybe you're doing too much comedy and you're not really paying attention to your grief. Like you gotta pay attention to that. You
Because
really
it will
do.
come out in some other way. And
Yeah.
that's where, so it's going to make you listen to it one way or another. It's a matter
Yeah.
of just if you can intercept it before it becomes a physical pain or, such an
Yeah.
emotional, debilitating, whatever.
Yeah. Definitely. Was there a moment for you that you were like, I'm a working comic now. Like this is my full time, like I'm all in. I'm all in. What was that moment for you? Or
I
what
was,
was that show? Like what was it?
I remember being early on that I was being, $50 to get to do that 5 to 7 minute spot pretty early on, which was exciting. Um, and I would say, I chunk up my career in two segments: pre-sobriety and post-sobriety. Pre-sobriety, I had a lot of success. I had done a lot of big things. I was traveling the country. I'd made a movie, so that was one chunk. But I wasn't healthy, right? And because I wasn't healthy, both physically and mentally and emotionally, it cost me probably a very successful career. So now I chunk it into the last 15 years of post sobriety, where it took me a couple of years to get my footing back, had to completely rewrite, because the material that I was doing prior was just, I was single at the time. So like I was just doing a lot of like shit that if I like was out now, people would cancel me because of the way I just talked on stage, like horrible. Like when I was in early recovery, I would go back and watch old sets to like try to like jog some memory or try to rewrite something. And I would just sit in my garage. I have like a writing studio, and I would just sit and sob, going, "Who thought it was okay to talk like this?" But yeah, just because I was single and dating, and I was a character that I thought people wanted me to be, and then I'd be that character when I was drinking. Once I was sober and raw and like, oh my God, like that's not who I am. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to treat people like, to treat girls like that. Like that's just gross. So that was humbling as well. And so then once I got my footing back, and I would say a couple of years where it felt like I was a new comic again, even though I had established a name in New England. It felt choppy. It felt open mic-ish again to try to work on this material of talking about sobriety and my mental health and like, how does that fit and what does it sound like? So like working on your voice all over again. So I would say probably the last 12 years of like, yeah, like I make a decent living at it. Like I wouldn't say full-time work, but it's solid part-time money,
It's
I guess
most comics dream of.
and that's interpretive too, right? Like, do you want tens of millions of dollars, or are you comfortable paying the bills?
Right.
So I think that part is interpretive and subjective to each individual, what that makes them feel like I'm a working comic. But I do think, like, not to be like a crotchety old asshole, I think that there's like a genre that we're using. There's a genre that's using working as a comic pretty loosely.
Yeah.
Like I'm a comedian, and it's a fairly loose term.
That's accurate. That's true. You mentioned a little bit about your writing process. Can you kind of talk about your writing process? I mean, some comics don't even write. Some of them just like spitball. What is your writing process? How do you formulate your ideas? Where do you draw inspiration from? Anything you want to share about the process?
So it evolves, right? Like whatever's going on with our life. I am not observational humor of like what's topical humor of like what's going on in the world, because I feel like it's done every night at 11 o'clock, and it's really hard to like beat them, right? And then it moves so fast. So for me, it's really autobiographical. So for a good 7-8 years solid, it was my mental health and some substance use. And then I got married. I'm married to a psych nurse, which is just a wealth of material to bounce off of each other. And so just writing what I know and like how it affects me and my life is just kind of like, and making it relatable to, I know the audience is 1 in 4 of us are diagnosed with mental illness. So like, I know you're out there, right? 25% of that audience are my people. So I know I'm speaking to you. So I keep it just true to me, which is great because it's not, you can't take it, right? You can't really take my stuff. And also like being mindful of the climate that we're in the last decade, trying to talk about my sexuality in ways that it's like, it's here, it's right in front of you. I'm not threatening. So like the perceptions that you have in your mind, I'm gonna stop breaking them down left and right. And so trying to I don't want to say educate might be loosely, but kind of in a playful backdoor way, um, that kind of holds you so that you're not uncomfortable with the topic. And also, my marriage and relationship is the same. It's the exact same. So like we've been together for 15 years, so we have a lot of the same things that straight couples deal with. So trying to talk about those things to just be relatable and normalize what somebody might have ignorance about and fear, like I don't know what this is, or or their own biases of what that looks like. So if you can break those things down a little bit, um, that helps.
Do you make your wife listen to all your jokes?
mm, Sometimes, like, yes and no. Like she doesn't come to like she only comes to the shows that I like. Oh, honey, this is kind of a big one. Will you show up here?
Yeah.
But I'm not like running bits. Well, maybe I guess I am. Like, honey, do you think this is funny? And then if she's like, yeah, that's funny, and then I'll run with it a little bit. And then usually I will try. Like I don't typically go to open mics to try material. Like I'm trying them on the shows that I'm on. And so I usually have like a 7 to 10 time rule of trying something out, and I record everything, which everybody should be recording some form. And so I record everything so that I can watch my homework back, so that I can like, all right, it's been 7 times. Clearly, I'm the only one that finds this joke funny. Maybe I need to shelve it and bring it and try to like see how do I rewrite this that I can make it land better. So I do have like a 7 to 10 rule of trying it out before I cancel it out.
Hmm. Have you ever had that joke that you're like, I want this to work so badly and it's not landing?
Yeah, I've had a few of them where I do them just for me. It's for
Yeah,
me because I
yeah.
know. Candace will tell me I have this one joke, and I can't think of it off the top. Oh, yeah, that I don't think the people hear it. It's so well written that you're not hearing it, that I don't get the credit for it. That I continue to
Mm.
do it because you're not here. I'm making you uncomfortable because you're not listening to it correctly.
Wow.
And she's like, and she'll come and see me. She's like, you don't get enough credit for that joke. I'm like, I know, but I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up.
You can't give up. You can't give up.
Oh, I know
So
what it
what
is.
made you want to get into Disney?
It's a joke about like how at this point in my life I have not learned how to listen in an Asian accent yet. And that one's on me. Like I own that one. And it's totally me. Like I haven't evolved enough to like translate it in my own. They're not doing anything wrong. Like I just
Yeah.
don't. So it's on me that I can't understand it, right?
Right.
But the minute there's trigger words to people. So if you start saying anything, they're listening. They're not listening to hear. They're listening to respond.
Right.
So they're either getting offended. Like I had a comic not hear the joke and was just like, well, I better be careful, or Amy T's gonna like write a joke about me. And I'm like, that's not the joke. That's not the joke.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah.
that's not the joke.
Oh
Um,
my God.
but again,
Yeah, I've had
you're automatically listening to respond. You're not listening to hear. So,
right. I've had jokes like that before that I'm like my best friend, I make her listen to everything and I'm like, why is this not landing? And she's like, people aren't smart enough to like get the joke.
mhm.
She's like, you gotta rewrite it. You gotta figure out how to make it so that they hear the joke and they understand it. And then they're like, oh yeah, that's funny. But the way it is now, like, it's over their head. They don't get it.
And then sometimes, like, yeah, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I can't dumb this down any harder for you, so I'm not going to.
Right.
So yeah, sometimes they're just for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's okay. And
It is
that's
okay.
part of it, right? That's it's all a part
Hmm.
of it. I asked some friends, some listeners to suggest some questions to ask you. So I'm gonna pass some of those along. And one of them is, have you ever done comedy in a city that leans more conservative? And what was your experience like? Have you ever experienced like a cold crowd or like negative heckling or anything like that? What have those experiences been like?
Yes, yes, yes. Um, Typically, when it comes to heckling, Uh, I put something into practice a couple years ago where what I recognize, because I record everything, I will have that stuff on, that interaction on video. So I get to watch it again in real time. And what I found with myself when it came to a heckler is I immediately went for the jugular. And two things I went wrong. 9 times out of 10, I'm the only one hearing the heckler because I would forget to say it in the microphone for the whole audience to hear. And so I'm only responding to the heckler, and I would go for the jugular because you attacked me. So I instantly went into attack mode. Right, like fight or fight, and like you're attacking me, so I'm going back at you, and it would be not nice and mean. And when I'd go back and watch it, I would see that the audience didn't probably hear, and then all it did was I looked like the asshole because I had the microphone, right? So
Yeah.
um hard habit to break. Not that I would get a lot of hecklers, but few here and there, or just smart mouths, and for me, like, yeah, like you put me on the defense, so now I'm coming in to punch you in the face, which just didn't do well. So a couple years ago I put into practice where, and it happened organically, on a show where this guy was posturing. He was mad because he came to the show and he wanted to play pool. Well, they shut the pool down to do the comedy show, and he is just pacing the audience, and he's posturing, and he's like getting frustrated. He wanted to play pool. He didn't expect a comedy show at his pool hall when he got there, and he was posturing up at me, and instead of letting him, like, and he was yelling stuff at me or whatever, and instead of letting him like get the best of me, I was just like, thank you so much. I'm going to be done in about 15 minutes. If you can just give me a few more, I appreciate your patience. Like, I just spun it back to him, thanked him, appreciated him for his patience, that I would get done as soon as I possibly could. And then it, like, you could see him come down and soften, right? Like, so it almost just like reverse psychology on him. And so
Right.
now, I take that approach of like thanking the person for being there. I'm almost finished. If you've got just a couple more minutes, I'll be done. And not engage in it, because usually it's never going to go well. So they're not going to add value. I'm going to look like an asshole. So if I look like I'm appreciating you, now what are you going to do? I just thanked you.
Right.
Now you're going to go
Yeah.
dress up. Um,
I love that.
and then especially like this political climate, you get like mouthy people, right? Like just
Mm.
nonsense mouthy people. I used to have a joke about, it's so pretentious, but I used to have a Porsche, and I used to drive a Porsche, and I would talk about how people would be mean to me on the road in my Porsche.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I know, like seriously, like white first world problems, right? And I tell the joke like I'm a big asshole driving this, and I'm like, and I'm like, they're so mean. And I'm like, when is the bullying in this country gonna stop, right? And like next thing you know, like the crowd erupts in Trump, 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 Trump. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I said nothing. There was nothing political about this. All I did was use the word bullying, and then it was Trump, 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 and I just stopped, and I was like, seriously? I go, we're all having a good time, and you had to turn this into political. And I turned it right back around on them. I had the audience like clapping, like I'm like, you call us a bunch of snowflakes, but it's a freaking blizzard in the front row, being a big bunch of babies, because you can't, not for 1 second. So of course it happens. Um, if you told me 20 years ago when I started doing comedy that it would be harder being gay 20 years later, I wouldn't have believed you.
Wow. Yeah, that's
It's real.
like an unbelievable, real, like unfortunate situation that we're in. Like it's
Yep. And it's right. It's already harder because we're women.
yeah.
Now add a layer of that. Now you don't, and there's, half a dozen really good middle-aged white women comics in New England that's not gay. So when you
Hmm.
start doing apples to apples, you can put me over here now because I add a layer that is, I don't want to say controversial, but why put it there anymore? They don't have to,
Right.
right?
Well, it separates you. It's just like another thing that separates you. Like when I think about you and your identity, like your identity as a woman, your identity as a queer woman, your identity as a sober person, like all of these things, like would you I would think like it would be so hard for you actually to do comedy. Like so hard.
And it shouldn't be, because I can hold my own amongst any of them, because it shouldn't be like, oh, I don't want to just do like it shouldn't just be like, oh, you can have the women's show. Like, I'm
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
I'm. It doesn't have to always be June. And not that I don't love being on a women's show, because I do, because then I get to see people I don't get to work with all the time. But at the same
Hmm.
time, it's another pigeonhole. And
Right.
then yeah, then I think, like, when you add the layer of, you know, the gay layer of it, I'm noticing it becoming where when I first started, it was niche and exciting and like, oh, this is edgy. And now it's like back to like, oh, well, I don't know. Do we want to put that on there? Because of, I think, the state of the world, right?
It's so true.
It's
It's so true.
bananas. It's
Hmm.
bananagrams.
I mean, I was talking to a friend, fellow comic, and she was like, "The last time you dated was the Obama administration. Like things are different now." You know what I mean? Like I didn't expect to find myself back in the day. She's like, "It's look at the world we live in. It's like Trumptopia. Of course it's hard to date in Trumptopia. Like of course. Like
It's
who
hard.
knew?"
Yeah, it's just hard. Like, for me, like, I'm on edge because I don't know. Can I trust you? Right?
Yeah.
Are you safe? Like, I was
Right.
traveling with Carolyn Plummer. We went and did a gig together a few weeks ago, and we stopped at a rest area. And then we were talking. I was like, Carolyn, you don't have to worry to go to the bathroom. I'm afraid. I'm afraid right now in New Hampshire at this rest stop, and it might be. You might people be like, it seems ludicrous. Like, when you talk to some other people, they'll be like, you have nothing to worry about. You don't know that.
Right. Right.
Chances are
They don't know.
chances are you're right, 70%, but there's a 30 to 40% chance that somebody might get mouthy because they're allowed to now. And,
Right.
or, if you put a baseball cap on me and I go out, like, to the grocery store, like, just all casual, and I'm not in a suit, dressed up, I get called sir on the regular. And
Wow.
it's not intentional. It's
Yeah.
just quick glance. How can you not, right? Like, I know. Don't apologize. I apologize to you. But so, like, there is that fear that I never had before, that
Hmm.
is real. And another layer of that is, like, say you and I are going to the mall, I make you look gay.
Yep.
That puts you in danger.
Right.
That scares me for people. That
Yeah.
scares me for my wife. That scares me for my friends. That scares me because, I'm sorry, we have loose cannons out there right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not an exception to a rule. So
Right.
that's a level that we live in now, that, like, again, like, seriously, I've made it all the way to here for this bullshit? Like,
Right. No,
the,
it's real.
the no, yeah, in a different way, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's it's one thing if I decide to do it, but I'm not trying to go to Target. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the plan.
Hmm. Right. Right. Right.
Wasn't the plan.
No. Oh my gosh. No, I realize like sometimes I feel like because we're in Massachusetts and like it is liberal and like you get this like false sense of security sometimes. I went to a mic a couple weeks ago in Rhode Island and it was so MAGA and it was like I was the only female on the list and it was scary, like straight up, it was scary. And I'm like, I don't feel safe. Like and this is like New England. Like I'm like, is this real? Is this real?
Yeah. Our colleagues that we work with are not safe and allies.
Yeah,
And that's the
terrifying.
reality that we're in, right? And so,
Yeah.
and I've had this conversation with other comics of, like, you think one way, and you're like, this is the way I think and this is the way I feel, but you'll bend that for stage time.
1,000%.
So I don't want to hear like, yes, you're an ally, but you're, and I try to find myself to not judge that.
Right.
But
That's too kind of you.
but I get it, right? We're all looking for stage time. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, but we're not holding. It's like you're rah rah rah, but when it comes to holding the people accountable, that's in maybe some sort of position of power. Nope, you won't say a word.
Right.
Do you know how horrifying it is to open up for a comedian that bashes gay people, to crush for 30 minutes in front of you, and then you get up right behind me and just talk about, using gay slurs and, yeah, gay and homophobic slurs literally right after I get off stage. Really?
Oh my God.
And if it was a lesser comic, we'd cancel them in a heartbeat on the group chat on Facebook.
Yeah.
But because there's a little bit of influence and power, we're excusing it. I just had
Right.
this conversation with somebody. They're like, "Oh, no, 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 blah blah blah." I was like, "You're excusing this because," I go, "but at the core and the foundation, this person is what they're saying."
Right.
Because if they weren't like that, then they wouldn't make an entire bit about this in this climate. After I just got off the fucking stage, like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, like, have maybe even some respect to not do it.
Right.
But whatever it is. So thinking about that, like our colleagues that we work with, we also have to like be more like where we just I 20 years ago didn't give two shits if you voted for Ross Perot or Barack Obama, like whatever. Now I
Yeah.
care. I care
Yeah.
because it says it's something bigger now.
Right. Oh my gosh. In all the worst ways. Um, what have been some of your favorite shows that you've done?
Favorite shows. Oh gosh, I've been blessed with a bunch of shows. I think some of the ones that I do for recovery or mental health are some of my favorite because, like, I just know it means so much, right? Like, I just know that, like, for the people that are in the audience, what it means to hear me talk, and be coming out on the other side and have, like, a happy, successful marriage and career and stuff like that hope that vision of hope, through that laughter. I know, like, when I get done, I'm like, I might have been able to get somebody through another day, right? Um, that always for sure. And I think when I wrote my one woman show, I'm Crazy Not Stupid, in 2019, and I sold it out like 3 times. Like those were pretty cool. When I did the This Is My Brave in 2017, like there's so many, for different reasons. And now like the one that I've got coming up in September is just like I'm already manifesting it. I know what I'm going to wear. I know what it's going to look like. So I'm already like I'm setting the expectation that this is going to be fantastic and we're going to have a great time. So I'm going to tell you that one's going to be one just because it's going to be like the personal goal of completing it and filming it. And again, like I'm doing it for me and not with any other expectations. Like I don't want to get ahead of the expectations right now. I just want to, execute it, do it well, and then we'll see where it goes after that. Yeah, I've had some fun ones over the years for sure.
What is the best piece of advice you were ever given about comedy?
Probably the same one as everybody, like stage time, stage time, stage time. But I think what some of the advice that I'm giving now to like some of the comics that I coach currently, and or anybody that like runs into me at a mic and is like, Amy T, can you give me some advice? Yeah. So the advice I would give is take your ego out of it, and this business is not fair. So once you wrap your head around the fact that this business is not fair and it doesn't matter how funny you are, it's about who you know, who your friends are, if you're in the right place at the right time. It has nothing to do with talent all the time. And you can be like, but I was so funny, I'm much fun. Stop comparing yourself to I'm funnier than this person, because it's subjective. And if their best friend is, the booker at XYZ Comedy in Boston, doesn't matter if you're funnier. They're going to get the spot first. It's just, so once you can remove yourself from the ego of I'm funnier and comparing yourself, or I've been doing it longer, you deserve nothing. So go and do it because you enjoy it. Be the best you can be, show up on time, stick to the time on stage, and be polite, be courteous, stay out of the bullshit. Don't get caught up. Don't ever be the person that says Amy T said that you said. Nope. Trust me, I love hearing it. I love reading it on the little Facebook threads. I love knowing all the gossip, but it's not coming from I heard from Amy T that you did this. No, you didn't. Nope. So I think those are things that I wish I had learned, 15, 20 years ago, of like, this business is not going to be fair. We are not all paid the same. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I am all for pay transparency. So if somebody says, Amy T, I got booked here, what did you get paid? I got paid this. Just so you know what you're working with. I want you to get more if you can, but at the very least, take no less than this. Because I think that's unfair too. I think that's unfair that some people get paid differently for doing the same job, because of your gender, because maybe, who fucking knows? Sometimes I think they just pull it out of a hat sometimes. So that would be my biggest advice. Take your ego out of it. Enjoy what you're doing. If you're going out and you're doing the mics 3-4 nights a week and you're having fun, then that's the success of it. But stay out of the drama, stay out of the bullshit, and stay out of comparing yourself to other comics, because you will drive yourself crazy. Because this business already beats up our mental health, right? Because
big time.
Right, you have a bad set. Nobody's harder than on ourselves. Now you get a 2-hour ride home to sit in that. And now you want to get on Facebook when you get home and scroll, and you see like so-and-so shoot a poster, and you're like, you fuck, right? You can't do that. You can't. So in order to protect yourself in those ways, try to take yourself out of the things that you can't control. You're never going to be able to control it. There's never going to be a rhyme or reason. Yeah. I was gonna give you an example, but I think I'll keep that one to myself.
I was about to say, how do you bounce back from a bad set? We all have them, and some of them hurt a lot. How do you bounce back?
Ooh, I did this show one time in front of like 150 lesbians, right? These are my people.
Yeah.
These are my people. These people knew me in P-Town when I used to work summers down there. And this is the old material I used to tell you about, right? Like, I'm like, oh my God. They're like, oh my God, we used to see you in P-Town. We love you, da da da. I'm like, oh my God. So I said to my wife, went to the show. I said to my wife, I was like, honey, if they saw me in P-Town and they loved me in P-Town, I'm like, they're going to love me now. I'm sober. I'm married. Like this, whatever. 57 minutes of crickets. I could not get them to. I'm looking at my wife in the front row. I'm like, I'm giving her eyes, and she's going. I'm like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, I hear somebody was like, all right, enough. We want to hear about your girlfriend. And I was like, they wanted to hear the old material. And I was like, I can't talk about my girlfriend in front of my wife. Like, what? I'm trying to make a joke of it. And I went home 2 weeks. I spiraled for 2 weeks on that show because these were my people. You should have just been laughing because I'm gay. Right? Like,
right. Should be easy.
Yeah. And I said to Candace that night, I was like, if I was drinking still, like, tonight would not have been a good night. Like, I don't know if I would have recovered from it. But the next thing you do is you get back on stage and you bounce back. Right? Like, you sit in it, you figure out why. Like, whose fault was it? That's why I record everything. Was it my fault? because I can have a
Right.
bad night, right? Like you can rush through a set, or you flub words, so your setups didn't come out right, so no wonder why the audience can follow you. So, or sometimes it's an energy in the room, and or like maybe your opening comics kind of set a pace that just set the tone of the night, and you're not going to do anything about it, right? So usually it's like getting back on stage, finding out if I had any accountability in it. Sometimes it's just the night. That's
Yeah.
my first thing, and then getting back on stage, going, you know what, this was just a one-off. Or,
Hmm.
as you know, right, you can get on a streak. You be like 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row, and you know one's about to drop. So you're like, when it happens, you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was due. I was
Yeah.
due. That's and the one that it happens on is the one that you're recording to send in for an audition every time. So just
Of
plan
course.
on it, laugh it off.
Yeah, totally. When you listen back to those recordings, is there anything in particular you're listening for?
I'm listening for like I listen and watch. So I want to watch like some behavior. So like I have like a tick. Like I play with my ear a lot, and so I watch for that because I think I overheard a woman in the bathroom when I was going to the bathroom talk about my sessions. Like, why was she always touching her ear? And I didn't realize I was doing it. And so now I'm like, oh, I'm distracting the audience. So I'm watching for like, am I like doing ticks on stage? You know how like some guys will like hit their pants all the time, or their legs or whatever. Like, you know, they have their own like unique, but it's consistent to them. Sometimes it's distracting, sometimes it's too much. So I want to make sure I'm not doing that. I want to make sure like I got really good advice from Eddie Brill one time on a show. He's like, you say right a lot, like right. And I didn't realize I was doing it. And now I try to catch myself or watch, like, did I do that? You know, I mean, it's Eddie Brill from The Tonight Show. He knows what he's talking about. So like, clearly I should watch for that. So I listen for that. I listen to see, you know, especially when you're working on new material, how did I set that up different? You know, when you're working on it, sometimes you don't do it the same every single time. So you want to see like what worked from the last time to this time. So I'm watching for a lot of things. And I know like people are like, oh, I don't like watching myself. It's so cringy. It's the only way you get better. It's the only way you get better, because you can do 5, 6 nights mics a night, but if you're not changing what's not working, because you're not aware of what's not working, then you're not going to get better. You're going to continue to do those same mistakes, or like the same things, like because you don't know that they're not right or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I hate watching myself, and of course it is cringy, but like that's how you learn, you know?
It is, because even every facial expression is timed, right? Every sip of water is timed. Um, you know, like that way, like you know, I cannot stand when a comic goes like this. How much time do I have on stage? It's for me. It's like that's cringe to me when I see a comic look at their watch and be like, all right, how much time do I got left? And then they have like another 5 minutes, and then I hate that. I of course look at my watch to see where I'm at, but I do it in a way that is inconspicuous, so that I know I got like 4 minutes to work with. But I also know somewhere in my set where I am. But you know, it moves around because sometimes they're laughing so hard that they're taking up all my time. No, but
Problems.
so it is cringy. But if you like, just separate yourself from that, and it's homework, right? Like
Yeah,
it's another part of the job. Um, if you can think of it that way, it gets a little easier, I think.
yeah, definitely. Talk to me about where Amy's mental health is right now. Like, how are you doing? How are you feeling, especially heading into this big birthday? Some people get really depressed around their birthdays. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but tell me about how you're doing, like, right now.
I think I'm good. So I left my full time job a year ago and kind of like been on a physical and mental health journey of like taking care of my physical health, taking care of my mental health. So I feel good. So like to ask, yes, I feel fantastic. Going into 50, I think that's what like me isn't just embracing it and just be like, I'm gonna own it. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change the calendar, so it's not like it's not going to happen. So like, why not have fun with it? Like, just embrace it. Again, didn't think I had no intentions of making this birthday. So, all right, let's see what the next decade could be. And it's not like end all be all, right? Maybe this will be like the next 10 years is going to be, who knows? Maybe this is when I get the sitcom, right? There's no right. There's no, the answer is no unless you try. So I would say good and hopeful. Like it ebbs and flows. Like personally, I am fabulous. Globally, I'm sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Hard not to be.
right. And so you're trying to like, every day it's something new and you're like, you keep getting gut punched with like, okay, they're taking away my marriage. Okay, they're gonna send me to an autism concentration camp now. Like you know what I mean? Like I can't keep up. So I really have tried to disconnect from the news, which I love the news. That was my thing. So I disconnected cable and only watch this much, like my 30 minutes a day, so that it's not in here all day long, creeping up the anxiety. Like, shit, do I need to like move to Thailand? Because at one point, I don't even know if I still should be thinking about moving to Thailand. Because I,
Yeah.
like,
We got
um,
another 3 years at least, so
yeah. So I think like trying to find that balance of like, all right, what can I do today? Today I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna record your podcast with you. That's the best, right? Tomorrow, we're gonna take Candace to get her LASIK touch up. You know what I mean? Like just what do I got the end
yeah.
of tomorrow, the end of the week, like, and not try to get too far ahead of the spiral because it's 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 dooms. It's very gloomy, and I don't want it to
Mm-hmm.
feel gloomy. And also, like for me, like I've really cleaned up my social circle. So like, what is in the social circle is like people that I feel safe with, that I can trust, that I can be, and then as far as like even comedy colleagues, yeah, I want to. You're showing yourself enough that I can see who I want to work with, who I don't. And then that makes it for fun too. Like when you work with great people on the weekends, like, oh, good, I get to go to work and that's fun. I get to go to, playtime is fun and stuff like that. So I would say that would be my answer. Personally, I'm fabulous, excited about turning 50 and excited for my show and excited for what's all to come. But globally, I'm sad and just trying to maintain like the rest of
Yeah.
us.
Heard that. Big time.
So very
I want
crazy.
to I want to end on like what does the next 50, fingers crossed, of course. What does the next 50 hold? I mean, we obviously don't want to get too ahead of ourselves or anything, but like what's the big goals? What's like where do you see yourself somewhere in the next 20, 30, who knows how many years?
All right, it is well documented. I don't want to live past 80. So like
Okay, noted.
80 is like that's a good enough, right? Like I feel like I can still drive, but at that point it's getting a little sketchy.
Yeah.
So like 80 is good. What is the, so let's like take the next 30 years. I think as long as I'm like healthy enough and in love and I still have my wife, like, and I still get to do comedy enough, like that's all the success and the wins. Anything else is going to be a bonus. Yeah, if I'm still working 3 or 4 nights a week and enjoying it, and my marriage is healthy and happy and my wife is healthy and happy, and yeah, how can I don't need anything else, right? um the wants is a big list. Of course I want a sitcom, of course I want a Netflix special, like who doesn't,
Yeah.
but the reality is like I'll never stop chasing it, but the expectation or the reality is probably slimmer than it was 20 years ago or 10 years ago. So um I'm not going to like focus on it. I'm just going to be focused on now, and I'm happy and things are great and things are going well now, and create as many opportunities as I can for my own self.
Hmm. Definitely. One thing that you definitely touched on that I didn't even think of before, but I definitely want to talk about is the age thing. I mean, of course, in the context of like, yes, you're turning 50, but like in the context of comedy, do you ever feel like the age is a hindrance or hold you back? Or have you ever felt any I don't know, like any bias, any difficulty because of your age?
Uh, Nothing that I can say I can confirm,
Hmm.
but I would absolutely say yes, of course it's out there. The
Yeah.
ageist is out there.
Yeah.
It's almost like, right, like you can't have too many. There's a handful of good ones uh, that are my age out there. There's a handful of us out there, and then they're not going to put all of us on the same show.
Right.
So your spaces are limited, right? Like I was just looking at a show. Sometimes if you look at posters and they have a month out, and there's
Yeah.
one woman on that show for the whole month. That's a
Yep.
small pool. And I was having this conversation with Brian Munzer, and he's like, "Oh," and he didn't see it from my lens. I was like, "Brian, there's four people on a show. You get one woman, maybe. That means you guys have three spots, and we have one. So there's three opportunities for you to get on that show, and there's only one opportunity, if at all." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't
Right.
look at it like that. It looked like, he was from our lens. It looks like we're always the women. Oh, they always get to be on the show. No, no, we don't. We have
Oh,
less of
not
an
at all.
opportunity. No, so like when you look at posters, right, and they do it out, you see one, maybe two for the whole month. And we have a lot of talented women in New England, like a lot. Like
Mhm.
it should be the opposite in some of these months because you could put us all and not have it be a token women in
Yeah.
comedy night. Lady, it could just be a fantastic show.
Yeah.
So yeah, the bias is there, whether they recognize that some of people are doing it. And the age thing, I think too, for some of it is for me too. Like I don't have the want and desire to be out so many nights. No, like like I'm
Retweet.
bouncing after my set. I'm not hanging till 11 o'clock at this, Comedy Connection partying. No, I got an hour and a half ride home. Like I'm bouncing after my set. So there's part of me of that. Like maybe I do it to myself by not mingling and networking, if you want to say. Yeah, because I want to be home with my wife. I don't want to be out till 2, 3 in the morning anymore.
Oh my God. I feel that so hard. I'm 37 and I'm like, I've got to get up for work the next morning. Like,
Right.
I love sleep. I love to sleep. Like, I'll go out for a mic. I'll stay for like a little while after, whatever. I'll be intentional about meeting the women and the LGBTQ friends. You know what I mean? But otherwise, I'm like, I'm out.
You're in Boston now, right? Didn't you move down to Boston? That's
Yeah,
cool.
I did. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's been a really great move so far.
Good.
So,
Good. And how long have you been doing comedy? It's fairly young.
year and a half, almost 2 years.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I was thinking two in my head. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
Still,
exciting.
still a baby.
It's exciting though. Like right, like you still got all the energy and the excitement. Yeah, no bitterness yet. I hope. I hope no bitterness yet.
No, it's been overall positive, I will say. Like I definitely it's like the white men who book shows are always gonna put up those like white men on their shows, and if there's one woman, it's like the token woman. So, in a way I feel like I for my shows will always do like women and LGBTQ because as a man, like you can get booked on any show. It's not hard. It's
Right.
not hard.
Right.
So,
You have to be not funny at all if you're not getting booked because like even what I see getting booked is whatever. But that's the thing, right? Like you're creating your own opportunities, and that way you get rid of that like that anger or like resentment of like how come I can't get booked here? Well, yeah, just go by making your own opportunities. That's what makes the job and the career and the business fun when you can do it your way and not have to play
yeah.
by the rules of the establishment of New England comedy.
Right, definitely. And there is an establishment, and it can be clicky as fuck. So,
It is, and that's why I say like right, like just stay out of the bullshit. Just go, keep your
yeah,
head down, do your job, have a good time because it's yeah, it's a stabby business. And but you know, like you'll know like when you find your tribe and you surround yourself with the people you'll feel it. You feel it, and you'll know this is my crew that I can hang with and I can book that will make a good show and it's fun for the whole night. And not like, one bad apple ruins the bunch or whatever, that kind of thing. So that's cool.
Definitely. Amy, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank,
This has been
yeah,
so
thank you
much
for
fun.
having me. I'm sorry like it got dark at the beginning, but I figured I'd be transparent and raw and be like, all right, I'll just be honest with you.
I love it. That's what I'm here for. Listen, I'm here for like the hard mental health stuff, the dark stuff. That's my bread and butter too. So I get it.
Awesome. Thanks again for having me, and I hope to see you soon.
Yes, you as well. Take care.
Take care.